So a new walking simulator posed as a fresh 90s version of Life is Strange just dropped, and everyone kinda hated it. From billionaire drama and nepotism to riveting gameplay that apparently puts your controller to sleep, it seems like there are plenty of valid and justified reasons to hate even the idea of Mixtape. But is it actually a bad game, and if so, why? With dozens of stellar reviews, a popular indie aesthetic, and the kind of backing that most dev teams can only dream of, how on earth was this game seemingly dead on arrival compared to its spiritual predecessor, Life is Strange? Now, if you clicked on this video for a takedown style update or just a visual retelling of all the events outside of the actual game itself that supplemented Mixtape's failure, you probably won't be super satisfied with this video then. But if you're really only clicking on this video because you saw your favorite game Life is Strange in a thumbnail or have a genuine interest in a more neutral stance from a game design perspective, you're right where you need to be. Like many other Life is Strange lovers, the early promotion for the game Mixtape piqued my interest with a very deliberate vibe and marketing. Mixtape benefited positively from being associated with another narrative-heavy, choose-your-adventure walking simulator. It seemed to take itself very seriously and featured popular songs, a coming-of-age story, and the cute indie nostalgia all at once. What's not to love, right? Both games had around the same budget, around $5 million, and currently stand at the exact same price point on Steam as of me recording this. Both games are meant to portray teenagers in their messy adolescence, written painfully by adult developers trying to be hip. There's an expectation of some awkward dialogue, weird scenes, and a joke that doesn't hit. Both games even have girls with killer bobs and brown hair, as well as a loser subtype guy hanging around who totally wants to pounce on one of the female main characters. Mixtape didn't end up being this colossal failure because it lacked style, funding, or even a recognizable identity. They already carefully packaged those elements very attractively way before release. On paper, it practically sounded engineered in a lab to appeal to the exact same crowd that fell in love with Life is Strange over a decade ago. And yet, one of these games became a world-renowned classic people still emotionally cling on to years later, shaping how many other narrative games are designed, while the other just arrived and got shrugged off almost immediately. But what makes a good walking simulator? It's obviously not just who has the best walking animations, so is it the simulation aspect? Yes, kind of. Let me explain. Most popular walking simulators already receive hate for their lack of traditional gameplay mechanics. They shy away from combat, make you sit through cutscenes, and generally appeal to a more cozy gamer trying to sit back and immerse themselves or become a part of this game's world and choose how their story ends. But Mixtape doesn't really allow the player to do that either. It actually lets you finish the entire game without choosing or discovering anything by yourself at all. Story-driven games don't need to be harder to be considered real games, but when you completely remove the player's sense of agency, autocorrect them through the game, and consider pressing one inconsequential button between cutscenes, immersion, we've kinda lost the plot here and need to be reminded why we make games in the first place. Life is Strange's rewind mechanic instantly gave you, the player, more agency than almost every other walking simulator did at the time. You could say the wrong thing and rewind 5 more times until you got it perfect, or you could just leave it broken, and it would actually affect Max's interpersonal relationships with these NPCs who would otherwise be just another background character. Maybe you'd even rewind something and end up ruining things, rather than solely using this as a cheat code. The mechanic wasn't just there for spectacle or to keep training wheels on bad players. It actually tied in with the game's entire story, as well as Max and Chloe's respective character arcs, all while constantly reinforcing Max's anxiety and self-doubt. You get a peek into Max's mind and her opinions on a lot of your decisions through her journal entries, taking photos, looking through her dorm room, and in her text messages. You get a hint of some actual romantic interest in her best friend and deuteragonist Chloe Price way before the player even realizes it's happening. By then, you've already fallen in love with them so much that you can't imagine any other option, except you actually still get to do that too. That's the funny part. You may see Chloe as the obvious choice in your playthrough, but other players may actually get deeper into Warren's crush on Max and can choose to see the cute nerdy loser get the girl in the finale. So there's already a kiss and a hug option for both a hot punk with dyed hair and a nerdy freak all in the same game. You're not just spearheaded into one or the other as a coming of age viral moment. Failure and choice are some of the most effective ways to rope players deeply into your story without ham-fisting in extra mechanics and actually keep them invested. Have you ever seen someone cry after playing Life is Strange? Do you know why? Now how about after finishing Mixtape? It's almost like Annapurna was too scared to inconvenience their players or accidentally make them struggle and earn their story because they thought it might make people hate their game. But they immediately shot themselves in the foot by even allowing that fear to take control. As a result, players are promised this immersive story-driven game, but when they don't even get to fail, succeed, or shape anything at all about the experience, it just feels dull. It feels like you're being intentionally left out of the fun in an entire friend group, just watching it happen from afar. So of course, this begs the question, why not just release an animated film instead? I mean, Annapurna obviously has the money and apparently a nepo baby to possibly get a series or even a feature-length movie greenlit, right? First, if you actually know about animation as a medium and have any respect for it, you'll likely know that it's way too hard and risky to create a 2-hour-long cinematic animation just because you can. It costs Sony anywhere from $10K to 6 figures per minute of the Spider-Verse movies on screen. Animation is historically a very slow, involved, and deeply collaborative process that almost always takes even the biggest studios years past schedule to polish, while remaining very distribution heavy on the back end. You could never realistically just make a movie instead, unless you're dedicated to that industry from conception. Now compare this to paying a $100 fee to upload a game on Steam made in an open source engine with thousands of assets and scripts at your disposal. But the best walking simulator games exist as a game first for less practical reasons than just money or lack of connections. The intimacy of playing alone in your own room and the late night sessions. The new branching dialogue in every playthrough that you collected through secrets to unlock, whereas movies won't magically just go off script or reveal hidden dialogue no matter how many times you rewatch them. It deepens your experience. The emotional ownership and nostalgia for a favorite game is directly tied to your playthrough experience. There's a natural intimacy you can't always find in a movie theater on a Saturday night. It's your Chloe, your Max, and your ending, and your spring break spent playing it that makes Life is Strange feel special. And while Mixtape does feel visually and spiritually inspired by games like Life is Strange, it forgot that participation layer that made us all latch on in the first place. Giving your players the option to fuck up the playthrough or ignore the creator's original intended narrative doesn't ruin your perfect little story, it deepens it and gives them a reason to come back. In a good story game, your player feels like part of that journey belongs to them now. You don't need guns, combat, or giant skill trees to be a real game. You just have to make the player feel included. Thank you.